Hello, I'm Deborah Price, founder and CEO of the Money Coaching Institute, and this is Conversations About Money. And today I'm with one of our wonderful coaches who lives in the Gold Coast in Australia, and this is Laura Cacau. And Laura is originally from Brazil and has been a money coach for a bit of time now. And Laura, just welcome and thank you for joining us and getting into this conversation about money. And I'd love, first of all, to start with you and understanding what is it that brought you to money coaching to begin with? How did you end up deciding to do this?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here, Deborah. I am so honored to be able to share a bit of my story, and I hope it inspires people as much as your story and your work does. I'm very passionate about it. So, my background is accounting. Once I decided to come to Australia when I was 20 years old, the way for me to stay in Australia was through studying something, and I chose accounting because it was the safest path not to have any changes in the future and affect my visa conditions, but was never really my passion because by helping people with their tax returns and opening business, I was always listening to stories of like people wanting to dodge the system and doing wrong things and finding the easiest way. And I didn't feel fulfillment on being an accountant. I didn't feel that I was serving or helping people. And I once I got my visa, which was a bit of a long path, but once I got my visa, I found myself free to do whatever I wanted. And I had no idea what to do. And then I started my self development journey where I was learning about myself, dealing as being an immigrant, all the emotions and adaptations that I would have to go through in order to thrive here in another country with another culture and community, right? So, through this journey, I understood a lot about how the reason that I didn't like counting, that I didn't feel I was serving people talking about money every day was much about how I related to money and all the stories I had. So during this journey, I came across to the quiz, the money types quiz. It was on a study I was doing, and someone suggested us to do the quiz, and it gave me so much insights about my own journey. And I was always curious. I have been certified over 10 modalities because everything that helps me, I was like, I want to learn more. I want to understand how this is possible and what's behind it. So it wasn't much difference with the money coaching side of it. It was just like that helped me so much. It brought me so much clarity that I want to understand more. The only difference is that with this certification, I could actually see myself serving and helping people because I did like Reiki and NLP, all of these things, but even though they are amazing tools that I integrated to my work now, I didn't see myself only like applying Reiki, like or doing some therapies that it's so punctual. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to talk, to understand, and to give clarity to the clients. So with the money coaching, it was like a new word to me. So I could help people with things that they already bring to me as being an accountant, like their money stories, with such a deep and powerful tool. So that's where I came across. You're mute. You're mute. I can't hear. You are still mute, Deborah. I can't hear you. Your microphone. Yes.
So, you have 10 different modalities, and you're an accountant. Are you CPA? Or is it a
No,
different
so I
kind of
was on the way.
designation? Okay.
Yeah, I was on the way, but it was a big frustration for me because I failed two tests and they didn't give you the proper review of the test. So I was like,
Mm.
this is a money-making machine because I can't even understand what I did wrong to make sure that I will study better. So accounting for me was something, first is a very traditional industry with a lot of limitations on what sort of advices can I give.
Mhm.
And I think it's the same in America. Here in Australia, for you to give some business advice and money advice, you would have to be a financial advisor, which is a whole another 4 years of studying. So yeah, I was a bit like, that's not the path I want to go.
Yeah. Well, especially it sounds to me that you're really very much a growth mindset oriented person who is, you start by working on yourself, and as you learn and you grow yourself, you start to realize what it is working or not working for you. And professionally, it sounds like you got clarity around that pretty early on, that accounting can be a wonderful career, but you don't serve people in the same way or see the kind of transformation, that you do in this kind of work. So I can easily see why it may have felt a bit frustrating for you, not to mention to take tests and not ever even know what happened so that you could correct. That's unfortunate. But you landed someplace that sounds like it is really working for you. And so you've been a money coach now for, when did you get certified? Please remind me.
Yeah, it's been about 4 years now,
Lovely.
four
Okay.
years of since the certification.
And I know that you do group work. Tell me more about the people that you mostly have been working with so far.
Yeah. So typically I've been working with the Brazilian community.
Hmm.
So with Brazilians who lives outside Brazil, because I feel that these stories about money is so much deeper and emotions as well about like how I feel sometimes guilt or shameful about how I'm succeeding in another country and left all my family sort of
Oh,
behind. It's not behind, but some some narratives can come from this. And also like starting business, many Brazilians starts business when they go outside because they see so many opportunities that they wouldn't have in the country that they choose, but they are not prepared as in their mindset and as a person to be entrepreneurs because that's needs so much more effort. Like it's completely different from having opportunities and jobs in another country, you're starting a new business. So mostly I've been working with Brazilians who have business outside Brazil in general.
wonderful.
And
So
yeah,
are your clients global, Brazilians who are expats in various countries?
yes,
Beautiful.
yes. Mostly they are in Australia because I do a lot of in-person events.
Mm.
So obviously the community grow bigger here. But I have been to Portugal as well to an event. So I have some clients in Portugal, in Europe in general, like France. We have one now in Ireland. Yeah, it's all over.
Beautiful.
New Zealand, yes.
I love that. That's one of the things about our business model that I love is that you can work from home in your pajamas if you want, um, and have international or global clients, and especially if you're multilingual. So this is a real wonderful benefit. So, do you find that a lot of the people that you're coaching, are they business owners, or are they just women who are looking to improve their own relationship with money because they've identified that this is an area that they need some support around?
Yeah. When I first started, I was doing more woman, and I was doing more like a personal work.
Hmm.
But it got to my realization that business is a way to leverage our earnings.
Hmm.
So it was very organic and natural that everyone that I was assisting with the personal level of stories, we would end up on having a side gig or, like having a projects that they always wanted to do and they just didn't have the confidence. So it was very natural that I was like going towards more business orientated people as well. And after that, because we were doing the woman, the husbands were starting opening up to the process. And sometimes the woman would be assisting the husband's business. So it was like, yeah, I didn't really choose. It was more like a natural strive towards the
It's great.
helping everyone. We can help everyone.
Well, and it's great to know that because I often tell coaches when they're first certified, I'll say, the best thing to do is cast a wide net and that'll help you determine who your natural, more organic audience is. Because
Yes.
until you're out there and you're having conversations or doing workshops or speaking or whatever the case may be, we might have an idea of who our clients are supposed to be, but what you discovered is it was different than what you originally imagined, and it sounds like it's really grown from there. So good work, really good work.
Yes, it's great. And the business leverage the results, the financial results of the people as well. So the work is so much more powerful because now they are not limited only on their beliefs, but
Hmm.
on their earnings as well, you know. So it's
Absolutely.
great. I love it.
Well, and I believe that, one of the reasons that we also do a business coaching course is that the combination of business coaching and money coaching is perfect because all those archetypes, they're just going to follow you to work. Only the trick is what people don't understand is the volume gets turned up on those archetypal dynamics. And there are other archetypes that can come into play. They're not part of the basic money coaching archetypal dynamics. So the two are really, really important because money and work, the reason we all get up every day and go to work is we need the money, right? And therefore, those two have to be really looked at and connected. So, and I imagine that you're getting some good leverage out of the life inventory process, which really helps to look at also how are they leveraging themselves and are they utilizing their skills, talents, and abilities. Has that been useful for you on the business side?
Yes, definitely. Because when they starting a business, is the owner, the person is responsible for every single decision.
Mhm.
So it is still how they relate to money that will affect how much the business is going to be profitable or not. I totally understand that it gets to a point that it departmentalizes and then you have a team and a structure, and that would be another sort of settings that we don't go there yet. But definitely when the owner is doing the whole lot of decisions, understanding their own stories, it's play a very essential role on how the business is going to play out.
Wonderful. So, what would you say at this point, after 4 years, what is it that you've learned the most about yourself and or people and money that sort of keeps you going and deepens your commitment? Because I can really hear, and we talked a bit beforehand, how much you really love what you're doing. So, what is it, that you've learned yourself or about others that you can share?
Yes. I truly believe, Deborah, that we can create our own reality. And I came from a family that I didn't have many financial opportunities. The way that I came to Australia with half of my visa paid, and only a 5 months visa. And I had to do everything here to be able to stay here for now 18 years.
Wow.
So uh, that that needs a lot of courage and dedication and willingness to make things happen, but also being inside on different ambients and having connect different connections of people doing more also help us to have different references, and references guides you on what is possible and what is not. So the reason I also work with Brazilians is because in Brazil, our culture, and by being a third world country, it's so normalized to be acceptant of conditions rather than decisions. And that's the reason I think I'm most passionate, is to show people that their lives can be different, that we don't need to struggle, we don't need to be in a survival mode, because there are tools that enables us to achieve more, really, you know. So I'm extremely passionate. Like I live day and night, weekends, public holidays. I don't even
Yeah.
measure time anymore. The way I see time reconstructed because of the way I see money now.
Mm. That's a beautiful concept. If I were you, I would
Yes,
write about that. Like you see
yes,
time differently as a result of your own work and your passion for your work. And I think that's a strong message about why people might want to do money coaching, even because we find, and I'm sure you see this, that people can become very entrapped in the paradigm they're living in, and start to feel sort of hopeless or helpless around making change to create what they want and to live that in that place where what you're doing matters to you so much, time disappears. And I've said that many, many times over the course of, now 26 years in January for the Money Coaching Institute. I can't imagine
Um,
doing anything else. And, well, I'm time challenged anyway. So, you know, I suffer from a condition called time blindness, which means time doesn't work normally for me in my own brain. But the fact is, I do what I'm doing no matter what. And it sounds like you would too. So I appreciate
yes,
your
yes.
commitment to that. And what about for your clients? What kind of feedback have you had? Of course, accounting versus money coaching are almost entirely night and day experiences, but what has been some of the results and things that you frequently hear from your clients? I'm always curious to know.
Yes. So on the beginning was a bit of um, a lot of questions within myself on doing this change. I thought that because I did a transition, right? So I was doing an accounting and I was offering this on the side to some of my clients that I saw I could actually help or that I knew these stories because as being an accountant, I would see them every year and I already know their stories. I would know who got married, who had kids, how much the debt went up or down. So I was already aware of these stories. I just didn't have a tool to show them how um, the, the the repetitions that were happening because of their keeping these stories and everything. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe they won't take me as serious as an accountant, and that will be a loss for me in business because they won't want to talk to me anymore. But then everything that was accounting related, I was able to automatize because I didn't really like doing to start with. And second, because technology. And then I was more within the stories and the time talking to the clients about what I believe actually matters. And so it was this transition up to the point that I was making enough money with the consultations and mentorings rather than the accounting. So that's how it turns out to me. And to clients, or like I was getting feedback like, oh my God, I do therapy for like 5 years and I never heard this point of view. I never heard about this way of seeing relating to money and changing my reality within one conversation. So it was also, once again, very organic how I didn't have to sell because they just wanted to know more. They were just curious. Things were happening to them, and that was enough for them to want to keep the contact, the access. So yeah, like things like, oh, I never heard that before in my years of therapy, or even the results. Like I would talk to people that they were doing these like it's my small business being like very like undermining themselves and within 4 years when they started the money coaching it was like the highest revenue year month, I mean. So like these sort of results was happening. It still happens a lot. Someone came to my event this weekend. I just had a big event this weekend and they did a great turnout. Like they had 75% conversion on the month and great results by attending the event as well. So it's amazing. It's still fast. It's been 4 years, but every time I hear, I'm still fascinated. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, I love hearing that because, especially since you're working in largely a Brazilian audience, because I have, as you know, another coach in Brazil who trains for us, and we're finding it very difficult in Brazil to get people to engage around money coaching. So maybe when people leave Brazil, they begin to realize that the ways there might not be the only way. And so I don't know whether you have clients in Brazil as well as clients who are expats, but have you discovered that, like working within Brazil, people who live there, they're less open than people who are expats and have moved, and their lens or view of the world is also expanded as a result of that too.
Yeah, I have something to say about that, and it's going to be super interesting. I always say that people who leave Brazil, they have stories about the reasons they are leaving, like, oh, or more opportunities, or I just want the experience. But in total honesty, every time I hear the stories I hear, it's about finding themselves. So it's like an inner journey. So we go out and look for things outside, but everything that the experience of traveling provides, it's within. It's about learning our resilience, it's about learning how we deal in different situations, dealing with different people from different contexts. So when people are aware and conscious about and intentional even about this is the journey I'm taking,
Hmm.
it makes easier for us as coaching being like, well, look at this point of view, look at this story that you're telling, look within yourself to find um the reasons and the motives and the things that you actually have to
Hmm.
change and adapt to create what you want. In Brazil, I do have clients in Brazil actually, but there is a difference there. And the difference is much about the ambience. As I said, it's normalized the
Hmm.
to be poor or to not have enough. And it's also we also have a culture of working extremely hard.
Hmm.
And we have a culture of people taking advantage of each other, especially like
That's
even
what
if
I've
we go
heard
to
a
the
lot of.
government.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly, to the government and everything. So in Brazil now, I'm very within a community of digital marketers because Brazil, even though it's based on learnings from America, Brazil adapts very fast and they can grow faster because of the quantity of people
Hmm.
as well. So on volume, they can um, leverage that and spread faster, which creates a massive results. So I do have a community now in Brazil that they are making millions and millions and millions monthly. Okay. But it wasn't my point of view. And now I will be like, yeah, I'll be very polemic, I guess. But my point of view, I question how much of this is going to be sustainable because it's not some work that is happening from the within. It's not something that they are understanding the what actually is happening and changing for them. It's just something that was like out of probability, like the fool in the archetypes, right? It's out of probability, it work out. But how much of the stories I've been
Yeah.
actually looking and adapting to be able to sustain that on a long term. So the resuming, like what I believe is the challenge to work with Brazilians in Brazil is that they have enough insatisfactions to make things different, but they go much more on the doing than rather than the being.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of internal reflection. It's more on how can I make more money doing something
Is
differently. Focus on the
and a lot
money
of
rather than the
separation
internal. Yeah.
is like a lot of separation as well, because one of the things that I work with is integration, and I know it's a big word for you as well. The integration of we are spiritual beings
Hmm.
having a human life.
Experience.
So I feel that there is a lot of separation on like on the doing and the uh, 3D and the 5D of the internal spiritual. So there is a lot of people that do the internal work in Brazil, but then they are more like the creator artists that they like don't they have a dissociation with the materialization of things, and on the other side we have a lot of tyrants that is like, oh, I'm getting what's the next strategy, what's the next offer that I'm gonna making, but they are not actually present and living on an integrated way of
Yeah.
the magician.
There's
Yeah.
no real alignment or even an understanding of why that might be something to consider, right?
Yes.
So it
correct.
sounds like there's a polarity. So either on one hand, you've got the creator artist who's going, I just want to do something of value and meaning,
Yeah,
purpose driven. And then over on the other side, the polarity is, I just want to find the easiest way to make a lot of money quickly, which is always has sustainability issues.
yes,
Always.
100%.
So when you work outside of that, it sounds like what happens is that as a result of people having to go deeper within themselves to adapt to new environments, people, cultures, and situations, it's almost forcing some form of inner transformation because they wouldn't survive living in new worlds and, having to be in new environments all the time without having done some additional work, and therefore they're a little more, or maybe even a lot more, open and available to look at other processes and ways that they can transform other parts of their lives. So,
Yeah, they are
really good
exposed.
niche for you.
Yeah, they are exposed to situations that they have to deal with, and for them to deal with, they will have to become someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I will be honest with you, within the Brazilian community in Australia, that it's very tight. We have like Facebook communities that
Mm-hmm.
engage it a lot. Every day there are people going through mental health struggles and things like that. So I also don't romanticize and say, oh, go to an overseas trips and you're gonna find
Right.
yourself. No, really. But that's the calling of this journey. I 100% believe in that. And if people are aware, they will look into doing something like that with knowing the challenges that they will have to overcome internally, emotionally, more than they actually what they are achieving with the experience
I just
externally.
had an intuition about something. You can take it or leave it, but you
Love
might
it.
want to create a campaign for people who are considering, becoming expats and leaving their country and moving to Australia or someplace else. So you can talk about a money coaching process that helps prepare the road ahead, because obviously, if the money stuff isn't working, everything else falls from there, right? And it can
Yes.
also unblock some other things that might create better opportunity for them once they arrive. But because you have gone that journey yourself, you could also have other things that you offer in terms of, you know, this is what you have to make sure you cover, in terms of beyond the money coaching, the practical strategies around how do you make the shift from one country to the next, and some of the things that they should be considering, and even having some coaching and support for that side. I could really see that being
Yeah.
a nice little thing for you because you have the experience and you offer the coaching. And so I think it could be worth considering. It just hit me.
Yes. Totally. And it's funny that you say that because I work a lot with the agencies that bring people. So that would be a very good connections that I already have to make this happen even faster, I would say. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love
maybe
that.
let them
Thank you.
be the
Thank you.
sponsors of the
Take,
events, right?
yes, yes, we have sponsors already. Some of them are sponsors actually.
Beautiful. Excellent. So, you've developed this. I know that you're also in the process of healing yourself from having, had an accident. And our friend here, Laura, had got hit by a car, and so she's had surgeries and she's recovering from ankle and knee surgeries. So you're on the mend, but you've had some time also to reflect on your own life and whatever. So what's next for you? Tell me what you're hoping for and what you think you're going to create in terms of any new programs or anything that we can share with our audience today about you and what's next for coming up in 2026.
Yes. So I am on this deep internal process at the moment. I'm on a wheelchair actually. Look. Yay, I have a remote control. I can control where I go. Eh? But what's next? I really want to be able to get more people within Brazil. So this accident came 5 days prior my trip to Brazil, where I would be going to some big events with some big players in Brazil on this digital marketing, where I want to introduce to them how to be sustainable about the results they are having already. So that's definitely one of the things that I have in mind of working on. Uh, and expanding the events as well. So now I've been traveling Australia. So I've been to Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, Adelaide, Gold Coast, Brisbane. So I've been doing the in-person events around Australia already. So maybe expanding as well to New Zealand, which is a bit closer, Japan as well. I think there's a huge Brazilian community that needs
Mm.
this sort of work. I think Japan, likewise Brazil, it's a lot of the working hard,
Mm-hmm.
extremely hard, even harder than in Brazil, to be able to get somewhere. I've been to Portugal for events as well. So, and my family today, my mom and my sister lives in France, so maybe doing some more work over uh, there as well. So that's like where the goal is, be able to go around and speak about it. Obviously, the money types, money archetypes, as I call as well. It's big part of what I do. So I speak about you pretty much every day in every single event, and that's what I
Sweet.
feel so honored because you are so such an inspiration. The impact that your work created
Um,
within the community that I'm now working with, and people that you don't even know. So yeah, everything that I have to do, Deborah, it's maybe talk more about your name in every single country I go.
oh, well, thank you. I certainly appreciate that. And I'm really just also very heartened by how much this work deepened your own spiritual journey. I can really tell that you have integrated it pretty deeply, and it's now a really solid piece for yourself. And the bigger the more that grows, because this isn't. I always say you can't sit in the seat and be a money coach and not have your own life transformed if you're paying attention even a little bit. This
Yeah,
work is not something that you just sit back and you're up here on a pedestal as the coach and you know everything. This work is every day that you do it, you're learning and you're growing just as much as your clients are, because everybody's story is unique. Every single client you work with is a learning experience because we are all very unique humans. And while we
yeah.
have maybe archetypal similarities, etc., we're all just very unique human beings. And boy, do you learn about yourself as you're coaching every day. So I see coaches grow exponentially all the time, just themselves. And I can really see that happening for you. I see that it's already
Yeah.
happened. So,
I got goosebumps of what you're saying, Deborah, because first of all, when I do my calendar, I have colors, different colors for different activities. And the color of my clients, like having this one-on-one time with the clients, it's purple because I attach this to a spiritual color. So every time that I'm with a client, I feel I'm on a spiritual journey. And it's like it's very clear to me right now that the clients that we attract, it's for us to see ourselves in each other. So 100%, I'm still going on evolving my
mm-hmm.
financial journey as well, because every time that I have a conversation, I can see layers of things that I recognize on my own story at some point, or like even if it was a story of my dad, a story of my mom, like so I still feel that by hearing, by listening, and by helping someone else, I'm also helping myself and my story. So
Yeah.
it's a two-way street for sure. And it's very clear to me. And I love it. I think that's what makes me more committed because I know it's not just about me or serving someone else. It's an integration that it's happening all the time for everyone who is
Right.
involved, really.
Yeah, and I think that what we have is we have this very large collective story, right? That we were all a part of. We all have a ripple effect in the collective story. And that collective story is all of our story, really. And then we have our individual dynamics and that story and how that's impacted and influenced us throughout our life. the sad thing is that most people, I'd say easily 85 to 90%, would say that prior to money coaching, it was not a very pleasant story. It was painful. It had a lot of shame and suffering. And it really doesn't even matter what the socioeconomics are. I see the same stuff with my clients who came with not a lot of resources or capacity, and my clients who are very wealthy. It doesn't really matter. And so, to know that you're actually part of shifting the individual and collective story through this work is a very powerful thing to hold on
Yes.
to. And so that's,
Yes.
for me, another reason to just stay the course no matter what. There's an occasional, I'm getting of the age now where there are days when I go, shouldn't you retire soon? And I'm like, nah, I can't consider it, because we're still part of the growing and changing and evolving the collective story, and then the individual stories in the lives of our clients every day. So thank you for showing up, for doing the work, and now for giving the gift of the work to all of your people.
Yes. And thank you for coming up with all these amazing tool information and validation as well, because I think anyone can come up with a tool, but having years of experience committed to show that that actually works and that actually impacts other people's lives, it requires your own commitment to it. So that's the reason I'm super honored to be here talking to you and to be have learned from you something that it helps me and my clients a lot. So thank you so
Well,
much.
I'm grateful, truly. So thank you. Is there anything that you want to share? First of all, I'd love if you could share how people can reach out to you, so your website, etc. And then any wisdom you'd like to impart to somebody who's maybe considering doing some coaching with you or whatever. Please share any wisdom that you would like to.
Yes. So first of all, if you wanna have reach out for any reason collaborations or being attended by me or anything, even access to my network as well. If you want to expand to Brazil or across the world, uh, I'm more responsive on Instagram. So Laura underscore Cacau, Cacau, like chocolate. That's how you can find me. A bit of wisdom for whoever is looking for improving their financial life or even their career as becoming a money coach. Um, I believe you have to be prepared to go on a journey yourself. As Deborah said, I've been doing a lot of modalities where I see people going there just to have a tool, just to be able to learn something and work on other people, and not everyone is willing to go through a process because it's deep. If sometimes it's painful, sometimes there's a lot of emotions around it, a lot of difficult conversations that has to happen, and people that we have to at least temporarily distance ourselves from. And this is part of the work. So it's very important for you to be open to that because the real results come when you are willing to do your own process, as we've been talking here the whole time. But it totally worth, because as we've also been talking here the whole time, is when you open yourself to that, you give permission to other people as well, and that's when you are really creating impact. And
Mm-hmm.
if I've learned anything about living life, uh, and I've been to different spiritual communities as well, like Buddhism, spiritual, like in Brazil, we have Spiritism, and Catholics, Christians. Like, it's about serving each other. It's about growing and loving and living experiences so we can um, create wealth, not only on a money side of things, but also in a wisdom and peaceful community. So totally worth it. Like, I'm extremely grateful. Money coaching was actually one of the last modalities that I've done because I felt like that's enough now. Like, I have everything to be able to shift things within my life and others' life.
Well, fantastic. So, first of all, I just want to thank you for being here
Thank
and
you.
for sharing your story and your wisdom here. And I hope that you heal quickly. I know you're about to have another surgery as well, so please take care and let us know if there's anything we can do to support you, okay? And so don't hesitate to reach out. And then I'd love to know more about how things are going with you next year, so please stay in touch, okay?
And I hope to see you in Australia very soon as well.
That's my plan, Australia next year. So thank you so
Yes.
much for
Yay.
coming and for joining Conversations About Money. Everybody, thank you for
Thank you
being
so
here
much.
too. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will be talking with you again soon. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.